Hello and welcome to the Tao of Yoga Nidra, a healing path for workaholics. And the aim of this podcast is to help us move from all the long-term effects of overwork, such as physical health problems and mental health problems, into finding and living a path of purpose, passion, enjoyment, fulfillment, and healthy work-life harmony. And in this episode, we're going to look at the importance of self-soothing for adults and how this can help us not only in the workplace, but in every aspect of our daily lives. So first of all, what is self-soothing? Well, self-soothing refers to the ability we have to calm ourselves down in times of distress or discomfort or stress and all types of emotional turmoil. It's the ability to regulate our emotions and soothe and reset our nervous system. And it's an essential skill for emotional well-being that's often developed over time from early infancy when we're babies on into adulthood. So self-soothing is important for all humans at all stages as we navigate the ups and downs of daily life. So obviously the way that children will attempt to calm themselves down and manage their emotions will be somewhat different from the way that adults do this. In the context of children, self-soothing involves a baby, toddler, or older child independently managing their emotions without the assistance of their caregivers. An example of this would be sucking their thumb to help them relax or sleep. Some children may develop an attachment to an object such as a blanket, stuffed animal, or cuddly toy to give them a sense of security or comfort. And this is very reminiscent of Linus, the character in the Peanuts comic strip, the Charlie Brown cartoon, where Linus is the child that's always holding onto a blanket and sucking his thumb. Other children may find the ability to console themselves and comfort themselves by rocking or swaying, because this motion can actually have a calming effect on their nervous system, because the repetitive movements activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Activating the parasympathetic nervous system helps to counteract stress and anxiety and increase feelings of relaxation. It can even release endorphins, which are the body's natural feel-good chemicals. Now, in the last Yoga Nidra guided meditation that I recorded, at the very start of the meditation, I introduced a technique called the physiological sigh, which is 2 quick inhalations through the nose and then a very long sigh through the mouth. And this is something that children may do by themselves involuntarily, maybe after they've had a cry or a tantrum and they're trying to calm themselves down. They might do the 2 quick inhalations through the nose and then the long sigh and repeat that sequence a few times to calm themselves down without consciously understanding what they're doing. Other children may work through their emotions through drawing or play, and this helps them to communicate and express their feelings and their emotions and even help with anxiety. So there are a lot of things that we instinctively, involuntarily, and naturally do as children to calm ourselves down, but without consciously understanding the mechanics or the psychology or the physiology behind it. We just do it automatically. Some children may want to be alone when they need to calm down, and they might have their own secret hiding place that they go to when they feel upset. So all these self-soothing techniques vary from child to child and will be influenced by their personality and their environment and their relationship with their caregivers, whether they are in a nurturing, secure environment or whether they're living in chaos. And as children grow, they develop and adapt and mature in the way that they learn to manage their emotions. Well, that would be the ideal scenario. But unfortunately, life is not always ideal, and many of us face challenges in early life that may hinder and impede our ability to learn self-soothing skills at an early age. Children learn and gain confidence from their caregivers, and sometimes the environments that they're in aren't always that supportive or nurturing. So this can also have an impact on their ability to have confidence in managing their own emotions independently and being able to comfort themselves when they are upset. And if there is continual trauma being experienced in these very early years, children are going to struggle with being able to regulate their emotions in healthy ways. And of course, this then passes on into adult life. Sometimes a child can have the most loving, supportive, and nurturing parents in the world, but then their lives can be turned upside down when sudden horrific events occur, such as their country suddenly becoming a war zone. Chaos and upheaval that happens through no fault of the parents. These sudden unexpected disruptions in the external environment hugely impact parents and caregivers, but also has a tremendous influence on young children, even if they have no understanding of what is actually going on. So sudden shocks or acute trauma can sometimes have a negative impact on the child's ability to comfort themselves when they're distressed. And there are all sorts of environmental events that can occur, such as natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, and so on. And as an adult, you may actually have no conscious memory of events like these that may have happened when we were toddlers or even younger, but the memories are still stored in the body, and our minds might continue to react to the event and seek safety or distraction from such an event happening again, even if they're not consciously remembered, and even if we're no longer in that kind of danger. Children learn by imitating the behaviour of their caregivers or the important adults in their lives. And if there is a multi-generational problem where a family has never learnt to manage their emotions in healthy ways and deal with their emotions by acting out in anger, then children in these families may sometimes adopt the behaviour patterns of the significant adults in their environment. Or they may do the opposite and flee in fear or withdraw or dissociate to escape from the confusion. Then there are children who grow up in the care system where there may be a lot of instability and uncertainty and moving around. Then there is the boarding school situation. Many children have very positive experiences and memories of boarding school, but I recently read an article about the widespread and horrific abuse occurring at one particular boarding school. A school for privileged, wealthy children, beautiful building and surroundings where children as young as 3 were in attendance, but abuse had been going on there for decades. All types of abuse. And younger boys especially were subjected to abuse from older boys, and in some cases this behaviour was ignored or encouraged or normalised by the staff, and sometimes the teachers even participated in some of the abuse. So there are all sorts of things that happen in early life in different spheres of experience. For example, with both richer children and children who are in more economically disadvantaged environments. So, whatever their social status, many children are impacted by all kinds of destructive experiences in early life and are unable to regulate their emotions in later life in a healthy way. And that's why some adults may turn for support to things like alcohol or drugs or gambling, or overeating, or burying themselves in work, as a distraction, or as a way of coping, or as a way of feeling good. Escaping from pain through things that may seem pleasurable or thrilling, or in the case of work, distracting. So when adults practice really healthy, self-soothing rituals, routines and activities, this contributes to better sleep quality, the prevention of burnout, increased resilience, and a general reduction of stress, as well as helping us to deal with overwhelming feelings so that we can respond to the situations around us with clarity and effectiveness and resourcefulness. So, if we take the practice of Yoga Nidra meditation as an example of a self-soothing practice, let's look at the effects and benefits that this has in terms of our physiological well-being. So, Yoga Nidra can help to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the relaxation response of the body. Yoga Nidra can also help to stimulate the vagus nerve, which helps to improve digestion, reduce our heart rate, and contribute to an overall sense of calm. Yoga Nidra can also help to decrease the production of stress hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline. These are associated with the flight and fight response. So the flight response is running away, withdrawing, or dissociating when confronted with situations that we deem to be stressful. And the fight response is when we react to stressful situations with anger and aggression and attack. An ongoing, frequent practice over time, such as Yoga Nidra or another form of meditation, such as mindfulness, can help to create a sense of resourcefulness that can help us when confronted by situations that we would otherwise find stressful. Ongoing meditation practices can lead to changes in our brain activity in the areas of the brain that are associated with emotional regulation. Breathing techniques such as deep diaphragmatic breathing can also activate the vagus nerve, triggering the body's relaxation response. I recently recorded a Yoga Nidra meditation that included progressive muscle relaxation, the gentle tightening and relaxing of different muscle groups of the body. PMR, progressive muscle relaxation, is one of those exercises that helps to also activate the body's relaxation response. Yoga Nidra meditations also often include visualizations and imagery that can help to create a peaceful and harmonious inner resource or sanctuary within our consciousness. So engaging the imagination with peaceful images in art or visualization also helps with triggering the relaxation response in the body. For example, in the Yoga Nidra practice that I recorded for the previous episode, the self-soothing Yoga Nidra, I included imagery relating to white light in the lungs because in the Taoist tradition, white is represented as being a healing color for the lungs in particular. And there are other colors which relate to other parts of the body, for example, blue for the kidneys, green for the liver. But as my focus was the lungs in that particular recording, the color I used for the visualization was white. And I also included a sequence of comforting images such as logs in the fireplace, fluffy white clouds, leaves blowing in the wind, a quiet forest, and so on. Other examples of self-soothing practices may also include sensory-based techniques, such as listening to calming music, smelling comforting fragrances, burning incense, aromatherapy, All of these things can have a calming effect on the nervous system. Even repetitive actions like dicing vegetables can have a meditative effect and trigger or activate the relaxation response in the body. We also see mindfulness coloring books for adults. So some of the practices that are typically used for children can also be used for adults as well in an age appropriate context. Even if we have experienced extreme or severe trauma very early on in our lives, as adults, we can still learn and develop self-soothing skills successfully later in life. Sometimes it's very important to seek support from experienced and qualified therapists if we believe the impact of trauma during our early years is continuing to affect us significantly. And if these traumas occurred in the pre-verbal stage, before we learnt to speak, or at an age when we had already learned to speak but didn't necessarily have the language or the vocabulary or the understanding of what was going on to articulate and express these feelings, these are the feelings that may continue to be undigested, unprocessed, and stored in the body, unable to be released, sometimes without the help of a therapist to support us. Because somatic therapies acknowledge that our body is a storage place for much of our unprocessed and undigested emotions, somatic therapies in particular are very effective in helping us to release the effects of early trauma because they include the body as part of the healing experience and not just the mind. We tend to think of the brain or what goes on in the head as something separate from the body, but the brain is very much a part of the body, the commander that communicates with all the cells of the body. In traditional Chinese medicine, it's believed that emotions such as sadness or grief and depression are stored in the lungs. Resentments and grudges, or the opposite of resentments and grudges, that is, the ability to release emotions, is believed to be an energetic or emotional function of the large intestines. Emotions related to anger are believed to be stored in the liver, and fear-based emotions or fear-based energy they believe is often stored in the kidney and bladder. Emotions related to worry are believed to be linked to the stomach. Then there is the complex subject of cellular memory, which can influence our genes and cells at the multi-generational level. So therapies which include the body, therapies such as eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, known as EMDR, and trauma-focused or trauma-informed somatic therapies can be very beneficial in these situations. Developing self-compassion is essential for being able to heal from trauma. Learning to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, to be able to look at our mistakes with acceptance but without judgment and guilt in a self-sabotaging way, is very important for our emotional well-being. So some examples of self-compassion practices include, of course, yoga nidra, but also journaling, setting aside time to write and reflect on challenging situations or difficult emotions that you're experiencing. Learning to sit with these emotions instead of trying to run away from them and distract yourself from them with other behaviors, such as burying ourselves in work, for example. Writing about these situations with self-compassion, but with honesty and with a willingness to change and transform. Body scans are another method of developing compassion for the self and also for connecting with the body, because in modern societies we tend to be very disconnected and disassociated from what's going on in our body because we want to escape from unwanted emotions and the body is holding our unwanted emotions. So when we do a body scan, for example during Yoga Nidra, or as part of a mindfulness practice, and you are guided to bring attention to different parts of your body. As you focus on each part, you can send feelings of compassion and appreciation to the different parts of the body. Because we are also conditioned as a society to judge our body, our physical appearance, the way we look, and also to judge the health and the efficiency of our bodies. So we are often ultra critical, not only about how we look or how we age, but also about how unhealthy we may be feeling, about any illnesses we might have. So these kinds of practices involve being accepting of ourselves as we are, in whatever imperfect condition that we might be in, so that we can then move forward into better health more quickly. And another very important part of self-compassion is self-forgiveness, releasing yourself from your own judgments, criticisms, negative mental commentary, self-abuse, perhaps interrupting the negative self-talk with a mantra such as peace, be still, as an instruction to your mind. So to conclude, learning to regulate and manage our emotions with age-appropriate self-soothing techniques in adulthood is very important for helping us to navigate the challenges of daily life, and also helps to prevent us from moving towards behavioural addictions such as gambling, shopping, and of course, one of the subjects of this podcast, work addiction. So if you haven't listened to the self-soothing Yoga Nidra meditation, which was in the last episode, I encourage you to do so. And until the next episode of the Tao of Yoga Nidra, bye for now.